right, everybody, doubleheader here in Cleveland today against the Barons. Starting lineup, we'll have Rick Harris back in net, George Bomer, Jack Hubbard at D, Nixon Lukes at right wing, Roman Signs at center, and Holden Gentner at left wing. We played the Barons at home earlier this season. We had a doubleheader at the Ice House, and we had tied them once and then won once. Signs has it, tries to get it over to Hubbard, but couldn't get a good pass off. And Harris will just get that covered. All right, we will bring in Albert and Wolf back at D. We've got Russo, Wilkevich, and Myers up front. Harris the covers. Shot stopped by Harris. And the Barons have it in the corner. Up to the point, shot wide, deflected. Oh man, they stopped there from Harris. And Wilkevich brings it in. We've got Bomer and Hubbard back at D right now. Wilkevich, Shines, and Sorovi up front. Bomer with the puck, flips it back over to Sorovi, and he'll dump it in. Puck to the point from Bomer, shot through traffic and gets tipped wide. We'll bring in Wolf and Albert at D. We'll have Signs, Jenton, or Cones up front. Albert comes up with it. He's looking, and he's just going to chip it up the boards. Signs picks it up, he's waiting for the zone to clear, circles, and puck's passed up to Gentner, tries to dump it, gets it dumped, and we'll go for a change. We'll bring in Bomer and Hubbard back at D. We've got icing, they wave that off, not sure why. We've got Luchansky up front, Clausen up front, and Gentner. We'll get a change at forwards. We'll keep Bomer and Hubbard back at D. We'll get Lukes, Russo, and Myers up front. Offsides. got Lukes, Myers, Russo up front still, Albert and Wolf back at D. Russo up to Myers, gets it in the zone. Stopped by Lukes, tries to get it centered, couldn't get it through. Offsides. All right, we'll bring in Signs, Vukevich, Cherokee up front, keep Wolf and Albert back at D. Centering attempt. Oh, Cleveland's got it. Hits the post. No goal. All right, Signs makes a move to the center. Still has it. Still loose. Comes up to the point. Bomer's got it. Quick shot. And goalie saves it. All right, we've got Bomer and Hubbard at D up front. We've got Gentner, Cones, and Luchansky. Kept into the blue line from Bomer, up to Gentner. Shot off the goalie. Cones comes up with it, tries to get it to the center. Puck's loose still. Gentner. Back to Bomer and keeps it in. Gentner's got it. And puck goes out of play. Nice shift. All right, we'll bring in Wolf and Albert at D. We've got Lukes, Russo, Myers up front. Lukes puts it into the corner. All right, Myers has it behind the net. It's going to come back to Albert to the blue line, dumps it back in to Myers. Russo back to Myers, so actually over to Lukes. All right, puck comes all the way down. Signs has it. Cleveland goes for a change. Signs brings it in the zone. Runs out of room. All right. We've got Bomer and Hubbard back at D. Signs, Clausen, Vukevich up front. Bomer's got it behind the net. Puck up to the point. Oh man, deflected twice. Still loose. And Harris covers. All right, we've still got Bomer and Hubbard out. Gentner's up front, Sorovi's up front, Luchanski's up front. Bomer goes back behind the net. Gentner comes around. Bomer chips it up to Luchanski. Oh, man. That is a goal. All right, 8:01 left in the first. Score is 0-1. All right, we'll have Wolf and Albert back at D. Cones, Russo, Myers up front. That was not much. We're going to get a penalty, though, against Jack Myers. Exerted a little bit of body pressure on him, and kid fell down. I don't know. They're going to call a hold, it looks like, maybe. All right, we will be on the penalty kill here. See if we can get this killed off. We'll have Russo and Cones up front with Albert and Wolf back at D. And puck goes out of play. Moving it around, gets it to the point. Probably could have had a good shot there. That's another good shot. It's just blocked. Russo gets it out of the zone. And still working, gets it in the zone. And gets it on net. And we'll get a change. Got Bomer and Hubbard in at D. Signs and Luke's up front. Cleveland trying to find an open shooting lane. Penalty's almost over here. And blocked by Bomer's skate. Still loose. Still loose. We got Myers. There's a trip. All right, we got delayed penalty coming against Cleveland here. Signs shoots it, and all right, we'll be on the power play here. All right, we will have Wolf and looks like Hubbard stays out. So Wolf and Hubbard at D. Volkevich and Myers Gentner up front. Gentner comes up with it. That's still loose. We'll have a penalty against Gentner coming up for a check. Oh, that's probably going to offset. We should take them both, I'm thinking. There's no way that Cleveland kid gets out of it. How'd you not take the other kid on the... Gentner got lit up after that play was over. Well, it is what it is. All right, we'll play 4-on-4 here. Oh, they did take one. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope. Yeah, it's 4-on-4. All right. Yeah, Gentner's head got bounced off the glass down there, it looked like. All right, Russo brings it in. Wolf's got it. Brings it in the zone. And dumps it behind the net. Luke's is going to go in. Bomer's back at D. Got Bomer and Wolf out right now. That's going to be an ice. We got 4 seconds left here. On the Cleveland penalty, and then we'll be on the penalty kill after that. Bomer and Hubbard back at D, Lukes and Myers up front. Shot block from Bomer, and puck is chipped up and down. No icing on that. All right, still Myers and Luke's up front. Bomer and Hubbard. Oh, all right. Hubbard's got it. Sends it over to Luke's, and Luke's will dump it in. We will go for a change. Myers stays out. We got Bomer and Albert come in at D. Back to 5-on-5 now, it looks like. Russo with the puck right now, goes to the center, gets hooked. No call. Puck's back to Albert. Albert gets his stick on that. And Combs gets it. Let's get it up to Gentner, just out of his reach. We've got Clausen, Gentner, Luchansky up front, Hubbard and Bomer back at D. Gets a stick on that, slows it down. Luchansky has it, brings it in the zone. He's got Clausen to his left and he shoots. Goalie gloves it. We'll keep Bomer and Hubbard in at D. We'll have Signs, Luchansky, and Clausen up front. Kept in the zone by Hubbard. Dumped in the corner by Clausen. Shot off the outside of the net there from Signs. We got Bomer back on a 2-on-1. Pass over. That's a shot. And a goal. Nice look there from that Cleveland player. Saw the 2-on-1 develop and made an immediate pass on it. Nice shot. Nice pass, nice shot from Cleveland. All right, 0-2. Myers gets it in the zone. Got Myers, Sorobi, Lukes up front. Elber and Wolf back at D. Bomer and Hubbard back at D. We've got Gentner, Lukes, and Sorobi up front still. Kept in at the blue line. Homer's back to it, and Harris covers. All right, we'll keep Bomer and Hubbard back at D. Lukevich up front, Russo up front, Gentner up front. All right, end of the first, Toledo down by 2. Start of the second period here. We'll have Luke Wolf, Jace Elber back at D, Evan Lachansky at left wing, Roman Signs at center, and Cam Cones at right wing. Cones gets it in the zone, up to Signs. Cleveland comes up with it. One developed here. That's a goal. bringing Hubbard and Bomer back at D. We've got Myers, Russo, and Lukes up front. Bomer's back with it, looking for an opening, passes up to Russo, up to Myers. Shot from Cherokee off the bench, and the goalie gloves it. We'll have Albert and Wolf back at D, Volkevich, Cherokee, Gentner up front. And we've got Trigo coming in for net, for goalie here. Back to Albert, shot deflected. Stop there for Trigo. Puck up from Cherokee to Gentner. Gentner takes it behind the net. We got Bomer and Hubbard in a D right now. We have delayed penalty coming against Cleveland. All right, Bomer and Hubbard are going to be back at D for this. Up front, we've got Lukes, Russo at wing, Signs at center. Russo's got it, puts it on net, and goalie covers. Puck's back to Bomer, up to Signs. Signs' shot goes high. Puck to Hubbard, gets over his stick. And Lukes has it, over to Russo. Russo's down in the corner with it. Signs back to Hubbard. And goalie covers. All right, we have Hubbard and Wolf back at D. Myers, Volkevich, Gentner up front. Hubbard to Volkevich, back to Hubbard. Shot. And the puck is cleared out of the zone. That hit a Toledo player, no icing. Well, that was an extra long penalty. I have no idea what that Cleveland player did, but he must have gotten like a double minor. Bomer's back on the ice, out with Wolf. Wolf just goes off. Albert comes on. Bomer moves it up to Volkevich. Gets it in the zone. Albert pucks back to Albert. He's going to have time to shoot it. That goes in. Whoa! They say no goal. That was not even Wait, maybe it. Okay, that is a goal. The back judge waved his arms that it was no goal. The front one said yes. All right, so we'll get a goal off of that, it looks like. There was only a minute 27 left on that second penalty, so I think that expires. We should be back to 5-on-5 here. All right, nice shot there from Albert. I think he got tipped. I don't know whose goal that actually was, but Bomer's back with it, launches it around. Probably start the clock, eh? Bomer gets a stick on that. Puck snuck in beneath Trigo's legs. All right, 1-4. We will have Hubbard and Wolf back at D, Luchansky, Gentner, Cones up front. Nice save there from Trigo. Puck's back to Hubbard. Launches it around. All right, we've got Albert and Wolf are in a D. Myers, Lokevich, Sorovi up front. Shot from the point from Albert. There's another goal. Rebound. I don't know who got that one in. Maybe Myers. Albert's having a good game. 2 shots towards the goalie. Ended up 2 goals. Neither were his, but getting through traffic still. All right, we got a 2-4 game here. Bomer's got it. Sends it around to Hubbard. Signs comes up with it. And gets it up to Russo. Gets it centered, but can't get through traffic. Lukes keeps it in. Still in. Wolf keeps it in the blue line. Shot from Wolf. Hits a body trying to get through traffic. Nice save from Trigo. Oh man, nice block there from Wolfie. Ice it. There you go. Good. Oh, that was convenient. Cone shot low. Rebound off the side of the net. We got Bomer and Albert come in at D. Cones has it. Makes some moves. Gentner, Luchansky, Cones up front right now. Albert dumps it in. Pucks up to Bomer, gets a shot on, bouncing. Nice stick from Bomer there. Albert's back with it. He's got a little time here. Gets it up to Luchansky and pucks out of the zone. All right, puck is dumped in. And Hubbard and Wolf comes in at D. Nice read there from Myers coming in off the bench to break that up. All right, we've got Myers, Wojciech, Shirovi up front right now. Wojciech with the puck. Hubbard and Wolf are back at D. Lukes, Myers, Shirovi. Nice save from Trigo. Another nice save from Trigo. Wolf's got it. And up out of the zone. Oh. Hubbard goes down hard into the boards. All right, cleared out of the zone by Wolf. Oh man. Off the post. All right, we'll have Albert and Bomer back at D. Signs, Lukes, and Russo up front. Bomer sends it to Albert. Russo's along the boards. Shot into the corner by Cleveland. Gets through traffic. Bomer sends it to Albert, up to Russo. Russo brings it in, Signs has it, shot, hits the shin guard. We got Wolf and Hubbard back at D right now. Wojciech, Gentner, and Luchansky up front. Wojciech brings it in the zone. Over to Gentner. Gentner's got it in the corner. And Cleveland comes up with it. Kept in at the blue line by Wolf. And we'll have Bomer and Albert in D. Chansey's got it, dumps it in. Kept in by Albert. Roby's got it, over to Luke's. Bomer keeps it in at the blue line. Out of the zone here. That's back to Bomer. Sends it to Albert behind the net. Up to Luke's. And not out of the zone. Myers trips it up. And Trigo will just cover. A little over 2 minutes left to go here in the second period. I think I still got first listed here. Wolf and Hubbard back at D. Signs, Russo, Cones up front. Hubbard's back with it. Comes to the point. Defenseman makes a move. Shot. I think it got tipped up high over Trigo. Wolf sends it to Hubbard. Up to Russo. Up to Signs. We got Albert and Bomer come in at D. Bomer goes back with it. Oh, nice. Bomer's got it, chips it up to Signs. He dumps it in deep. All right, we'll have Bomer and Hubbard out at D, Gentner, Wojciech, and Luchanski up front. Puck's back to Hubbard. Bounced off his stick, trying to keep it in. Offsides. All right, same lines. 29 seconds. All right, 12 seconds. Chansky gets it deep, hits the ref. Convenient bounce to Wojciech. Luchansky's shot goes just wide. We got 2 seconds, 1 second, and all right. All right, start of the third period. Toledo still down by 2. We'll have Luke Wolf, Jace Albert back at D to start this out. Weston Trigo still in at goaltender. Jack Myers at center with Nixon Lukes and Braxton Clausen at wing. Nice pause there from the goaltender or from the defenseman, and fresh legs off the bench from Cleveland. Puck is out of the zone. It should give us time for someone to change here. Bomer comes in, over to Wolf, up to Lukes. Lukes is going to skate it in, gets it center to Signs. And Gentner is the other forward. We got Bomer and Hubbard back at D. That was too many men. We got lucky with that one. Bomer's got it, sends it up the boards, and blocked by Luchansky. And Signs comes up with that. Wolf and Albert in a D. Got Luchansky, Gentner. Signs down low. Signs has it. Up to Wolf. Shot. Puck's still loose. Puck from Signs back to Wolf. We got really lucky there. So that was offsides because we had 1 or 2 kids that were out for a very long shift. right, we bring in Bomer and Hubbard back at D. Russo, Cones, Myers up front. The Russo's got Cones wide. Couldn't get it to him. Bomer sends it around to Hubbard, up to Russo. And icing, I think. We've got Wolf and Albert back at D. Ukevich, Lukes, and Gentner up front. It'll be icing. All right, we're bringing Hubbard and Bomer at D, Sainz, Sorovi, and Luchansky up front. Hubbard sends it around to Bomer. Comes up to the point, shot, deflected. Trigo might have got a piece of that. Comes around to Bomer. He's gonna bank it off the boards. And Bomer's got it. He's gonna skate with it. And he dumps it in. To Luchansky. Hubbard to Bomer. Bomer to Luchansky. And puck's out of the zone. It's going to be an ice. Cones has it, gets it in the zone, has Russo and Myers out with him, Wolf and Albert back in D. Bomer and Hubbard in a D. Bomer gets it, goes behind the net. And puck is cleared out of the zone. We've got Ukevich on the forecheck. Gentner's up. Cones is up. Bomer's got it. He's going to skate and dump it. A bit of an elbow into the head against Gentner. It's the second time he's got hit with one of those. That's offsides. We get a face-off come all the way down to our end. We'll have Wolf and Albert back at D. Gentner, Luchansky, Sorovi up front. All right, Gentner goes off. Signs goes on. Comes out of the zone. Albert sends it around up to Sorovi, gets it up the board. We have a 2-on-1 develop. Signs and Luchansky, gets it up to Luchansky, shot. Goalie stops it. All right, we've got Hubbard and Bomer in a D. Still Signs Luchansky, Russo up front. That was offsides. No call. Chansky goes off, and Lukes goes on. Bucks to Bomer, flips it up and out of the zone. Bomer's got it, reverses. Sign sends it up the boards. Russo tries to get it chipped up to Luke's, just out of his reach. We've got Myers, Luke's, Russo up front, Hubbard and Bomer back at D. That could have been a hand pass, no call. Goal. All right, we've got Wolf and Albert at D. Cones. Gentner, Wokevich up front. Offsides. has it. Shot, goalie covers. We've got Bomer and Hubbard at D. Sarovi, Myers, Luchansky up front. Got it, quick shot. Goalie stops it. Alright. Throby dumps it deep to Myers. Not deep, but circles it back. Alright, Throby's got it. Gets it back to Hubbard. Shot. Gets blocked. We got a 2-on-1 develop. And stop. Luchansky skates it in. We've got Russo signs up front. Luchansky's going off. Signs with the puck. Wolf and Albert are back at D. Luke's comes on as well. That's a shot. And that's a goal. All right, 2-6. All right, we've got Russo signs up front. Albert and Wolf back at D. Getting a little chippy here. Russo skates in, signs, shot, gets blocked. Bomer and Hubbard are back at D. And we've got a penalty coming against Cleveland. Well, Bomer and Hubbard back at D. Myers, Gentner, Lukes up front. All right, Lukes has it. Bomer's gonna try to. Bomer over to Hubbard. Up to Myers. The Gentner shot to Lukes goes just wide of the net. Bomer's got it. Sends it back down to Myers. And off the side of the net. Gentner's got it, and dumps it in, goalie covers. We'll have Russo, Cones, and Luchansky up front. Albert and Wolf back at D. That wasn't. Well, these refs are going to keep a tight call on this now after it kind of escalated a few minutes ago. I think before the escalation and checking and stuff a couple minutes ago, that would have been fine because they've been playing like that all game. But we'll get a penalty here. Brighton went towards the board stick first, got to the puck first. Cleveland player kind of ran into him as that happened, and Cleveland player fell down. But like I said, they are going to just kind of keep a lid on this. I think Cleveland forgot to start the clock on that. All right. All right, Bomer's got it. Flips it in. We are now on penalty kill. Cleveland's up to 5. And sent down, that'll be icing. All right, we'll keep Wolf and Albert back at D. Wilkevich, Myers up front. Puck is out of the zone. That'll be the game. All right. Oh, there's a whistle right before the buzzer. All right. Well, that wasn't pretty. They had some moments of that game where I thought they played really well. First period, not so much. Better in the second. Not as much in the third. So play again later. I think at 7 or 7:30, somewhere in there. See you guys then.